Amazing audience, good morning. We are still in LA. Yes, we are. And today we have with us the amazing Pauline Crawford Omps.
That's right. It's a very strange name, but it is my name.
Great pleasure to connect with you, my friend. Great pleasure to connect with you.
It is, and I was saying to you that I think it's stunningly amazing that having had a magical conversation with you from Malaysia to now meet you in LA,
in
the
LA,
US,
right?
when I'm not actually from this country.
Yeah. Like, what are the chances that it would happen
What
like
are the
that?
chances that I've been watching your journey around the country and thinking, I'm sure it's going to get to the right place.
Yeah.
And also this place is perfect because it's not actually in what I would call LA proper,
Yeah.
which is very busy and noisy. But it's near enough that I could get to and meet you before I go on to another meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. You said you were heading to Hollywood, which is going to be going to be very busy, isn't it?
It's going to be very busy.
Yeah.
The traffic will be...
Yes, I've learned that about LA.
Yes.
Traffic.
The traffic is
Terrible.
terrible. But you know, traffic is traffic everywhere in the world.
Not like LA.
Well, it's pretty bad in London, but
okay.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's all about... See, I believe it's all about a magical journey, so you have to have patience even on the freeway.
I agree. It's like a conversation as well.
It is. You know, you've got to consider it as like a party, so everybody's going the same way as you.
Yeah.
And yeah, you might be bumper to bumper, but why not enjoy it?
Yeah.
I can't see the point in getting angry. But then that's
I as
my
well.
theme.
Yeah. Well, do tell us about your theme, because when we last spoke, we covered a few things. One of them being you are the ambassador for Magical Conversations. That was given to you by your granddaughter, was that?
My daughter.
Your daughter.
My
okay.
daughter, yeah.
And that was interesting, right? To hear the way she gave it to you. She said you would be, Mommy, you should be the president of Magical Conversations,
Yeah.
and you went to the ambassador.
Well, I felt the president was a bit too grand a title, but the ambassador I think is good because it's like you're an ambassador for 12-minute conversations. You know, you're going around the world, and I want to go around the world and help people to have magical conversations, which are very similar to what you do.
Yeah. Tell us more.
Well, for me, it's about understanding the space that we're occupying now, and that a magical conversation has 3 very simple rules. The first one is there's no judgment. There's only contribution, there's experience, there's viewpoints. The second is there's no anger. So there's no need to get, you know, we can get quite strongly motivated in the conversation, but not to get angry, because people seem to be doing that now, you know. Oh, well, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm going. End of conversation.
Yeah.
So the third rule is there's no need to make absolute decisions until you get through a lot of conversation. Because we also live in this world which says, do it now. And I think unless you engage and you share and you explore and you search and you understand, you don't get to the richness which comes from people.
Yeah. How's that impacted your marriage, that level of conversation?
I talked to my husband about this so many times because men and women are different. So the other part of my journey is studying men and women. And one of the interesting things about conversation is, and I can see whether you agree or not, men and women do conversation differently.
They do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So women like to chatter. You know, we can have a conversation on a sixpence about anything, and to anybody in the world. But men are somewhat more reserved, which is why I think it's brilliant that you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because men are looking always for the simplest way from A to B. And
Yes, you're very correct.
and sometimes women go from A to Z to C to D to F, you know. So one of the key things is that men often hear women ask questions and think, oh, I've got to find a solution for her, when in fact she doesn't actually want one. And my husband and I laugh about this a lot, because I'll say something even like, oh, you know, where did I leave my glasses? And he'll say, I don't know. I said, I'm not asking you a question. I'm just voicing my opinion in the room. So that's a very funny thing between men and women.
Yeah. I've learned a few tricks.
But you know, when the guys get together, in my experience, you can tell me whether it's different. Men tend to talk about subject matter, you know, and it's sometimes ring fence, so they can be very, very explorative about sport or love or material things, or could be about emotion. But women will actually talk about them all at once.
Yeah, which is weird. But I can understand, though, there's value in it because there's a different gathering of information that happens in the process of the way a woman does it.
Yes.
A man believes he just needs what he needs, and a woman believes that through every information she will get what she needs. And it's fair.
Yeah. And generally that is true, and I've studied it, and it really comes from our biological makeup. You know, it doesn't matter who we are, what age we are, what, you know, sexual variation, what doesn't matter, but that core, it's like the hard drive on a computer. The two are different.
Yeah.
But we sometimes think we're talking the same language.
We're not.
So there'll be cases where I'll say something and my husband will say, well, I said, no, that's not what that meant. But he said, that's what you said. I know, but... So the whole point is you need to learn. It's the same with my son or my brothers. And it's not that all women understand all women, but we do have a language which is...
universal.
It's universal. And I mean, I've sat on a train in Kuala Lumpur where I used to live and had a conversation with somebody from a totally different culture who actually didn't speak English. But it was a woman and she was pregnant, and I was sort of going, you know, and doing it by sort of sign language. And my husband was watching me say, what are you talking about? I said, oh, we're just talking about life. As you do, and we smiled, and you know, it was like 5 minutes. You know, I shook her hand and left the train. But there's a bond which says, I'm a woman, you're a woman. Actually, I know what it's like to have a baby in that instance. And we share at that kind of emotive, sensory level.
Which can definitely cut into the concept of how do you apply the entering into the workplace of the woman and the man.
It's essential because the workplace nowadays is full of women, as you know. You know, I mean, it's like in America. I think 70% of the workforce is female often, but they're not in top management.
Yeah.
So when they're not represented in the management, then there can be challenges because of this miscommunication. And then it gets fired up, and then it goes wrong, and somebody thinks somebody's done something they haven't. So my goal is to work with senior businessmen and women, but I really like to work with the men and show them my blueprint so they can actually have almost like a secret GPS to understand what's going on.
I love that. Where's the best place for people to connect with you that are listening, that need that?
Well, my website is Pauline Crawford Omps. It's that wonderful name.
Yeah.
.com. And I'm currently expanding that and changing that, and I'm going to put a lot of videos out on YouTube which will explain the blueprint. So I'm right at the point of exploding into the universe.
Yeah.
And I've actually been interviewing men, so I have to do this with you maybe when you're
like
back
fun.
home.
Yeah.
We'll do it. Because I'm recording what men think about men. And not many people are actually doing that, just literally allowing them to say their truth on screen and then share it and get people to watch.
Sounds interesting. Like, I would love to see other interviews that you've done. What are you calling that?
I call them Men of the Future now. So they'll be on my Magical Conversation TV channel, which isn't live yet, but that's my dream, and I'm working on it like you have a dream. And I'll give you a very interesting insight that all the men, I've done 13 interviews so far. British, American, old, young, and all of them say we want to be emotional, we want to be able to share our emotions, and we would like women just to respect that and not mother us. So if you wanted to cry, it wouldn't be a sign that I need to be hugged and cuddled and whatever. Sometimes I just want a space.
Yeah.
And I want to be appreciated for being the good guy I am. And you're a good guy, so that's what we have to do.
Yeah, you're a beautiful conversationalist. I love this. I could go on with you for hours, very gently. I love it. I love it. What are some of the types of shoes you've had to wear across your journey, my friend? I love to cover this segment, your own unique real shoes.
My shoes?
Your shoes. What are some types of shoes you've worn between 1 to 12, 12 to 24, 24 to 36, and so forth?
Okay, well, 1 to 12, I was a tomboy. So my shoes were that of a tomboy. I used to climb the trees like we've got here. I love that. And the next bit was as a teenager, a very naive and curious teenager about boys and girls and, you know, having first dates and going off to university.
Yeah. What type of shoes were those?
They were slightly naive to quite scared, to be honest.
Yeah.
But then the next phase was leaving home, going to university, then getting a job, and actually realizing, and this was the kind of the 70s, long before your time, but that was, it was a very mixed workforce. It was young. I worked for a holiday company, and that was me stepping into my startup business person.
Yeah.
And then I stepped out of that into motherhood. So that's the next phase, and I loved that.
Yeah.
I loved being a mother. I had two gorgeous kids who are now adults.
Yeah.
My son's 41 and my daughter's just coming up 39, and I have grandchildren. So that phase of being a mother was beautiful. But the next phase was interesting because I became an entrepreneur, and it was I came to that via being an image consultant. So I had the shoes of both a businesswoman but in the image world.
Yeah.
And it was at the start of the image profession in the UK, so it was very new, and I just loved it. And what my next pair of shoes was going and taking that into the corporate world. So I discovered that I actually had a flair for presenting ideas to quite serious business audiences. So those shoes were high heels.
Yeah.
And that was the double-breasted jacket, the power shoulders, the
I
perm
can see
hair, the clip-on earrings. And I went on TV a few times because I was the president of the Federation of Image Consultants. And if you see those clips now, you're going to go, oh no, what did she do to her hair?
Colour?
It was...
Yeah?
Yeah. But then the next pair of shoes was as an independent single woman again, because my husband and I divorced. I think, we'd been together for 30 years and we loved each other, but we had just run out of space with each other. There were different things going on in our life. So I became the shoes of the very independent, got to look after myself, do everything, and really got into the corporate consultancy field.
Yeah.
And that was the era of like the 2000s. So it was for an older person trying to get used to social media and technology.
Yeah.
And that was another set of shoes. And even now I don't understand it totally,
Yeah.
I mean, I use Facebook and LinkedIn and everything, but
It's a lot.
sometimes it's a big challenge, like I don't know whether I should press the button.
Yeah.
First time I did Facebook Live, I thought, I have no idea what's going to happen when I press this button.
Yeah.
And then there's the pair of shoes I'm wearing now are, I feel and I hope, is that it's the shoes of the elder. I feel like I'm here to bring a message to the world. And yes, I have to be commercial and build a business, but I really feel very strong about bringing the message of men out so that women can get to learn more, and that together we can make a much better world.
Do you have any regrets from that time to now?
Oh no, because in this last period of becoming an elder, I met my husband, my American husband. We met, it wasn't by accident. I mean, we met in Budapest. He came from Las Vegas and I came from London to a conference neither of us actually really intended to go to. Why did that happen? 36 hours we met and we just felt tuned into each other. It was a magical conversation.
Yeah.
And that was that feeling that I stepped into my elder wisdom shoes, because after writing for 6 months and 45,000 words, I flew to America and he proposed to me and I said yes, and we got married that autumn, even though he just had an operation. And we got married in a little white chapel in Las Vegas. He'd had about 40 staples in his stomach from an operation, and we had Elvis walking us down the aisle and singing songs.
How fun is that?
I mean, it's just so. And then for lots of reasons we didn't go to stay in England. We went to Malaysia because of his operations and things. But all of that was magical because it gave me wisdom about the world. I wouldn't have met you if I hadn't been in Malaysia and met my friend ST who said,
get on here.
This guy is doing these
12-minute
convos. And everything, I think that's what's so amazing, like being here today. Everything, it steps out. And some days when you think, I just don't know what I'm doing here, what is going on? You have to step back into that trust, that elder wisdom, and say, whatever's going to be right will happen.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing now.
And it's amazing to have that connect even today. The power of a conversation. I love it. I love it. I love it. When you heard that this guy from the Caribbean was coming to meet you, what did you think? Like, what were your thoughts?
I just thought, wow, this is exciting. I just thought I was looking up on the map and I thought, oh, there's a park. That would be perfect.
Yeah, you did that pretty quickly though. Like, you did that really quickly.
Oh, well, I'm good with the GPS now.
Oh, okay.
You see, I'm quite, I'm quite good with this stuff. But look at this. We've got a beautiful place. Trees, the grass is green, the weather's perfect.
It's beautiful.
And it's just where we're meant to be.
Dr. Pauline, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I just think everybody needs to be in the moment. That's the main thing. Be in the moment. It's something my parents taught me. Your history is fantastic. Make sure you honor it. But the future is going to come from what you do in the moment.
I love it.
So be here.
Yeah. I'm glad to be here. This is a great pleasure. Dr. Pauline Crawford Omps, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Did you have fun?
I did.
High five. Boom.
Absolutely.
That was great.